But you know that they weren't just numbers killed. They were young people. They had mothers, families, friends, fathers. They were real. They were our own young. And as the war progressed, those losses grew. I've travelled through the length of our country, from North Auckland to the bottom of the South Island, and I've seen in churches, villages and towns monuments with names on. Some monuments are very elaborate and large. At Wigram, there's an entire wall covered in the names of men who trained at the airbase and were killed in the Second World War. At the Auckland Museum, on the top floor, there's a similar wall covered in hundreds of names. They're not all like that. At Kaipaki, near here, there's a few names in gilt paint on the church wall. All are precious. For their mothers, that name on that monument was all they had. All they could reach out and touch, because their loved son was lying elsewhere. We don't bring our war dead home, and that name on the memorial was everything to that mother. Many mothers cried long and bitter tears. The saying is, their names will live forevermore. But there are, two deaths. The death on the field, and the second death when that name is forgotten. And those names are forgotten in many places in our land. In the back blocks of Taranaki, there stands a simple concrete plinth with names on. There were children there who grew up, had friends, went to dances at the hall. Everything is closed. Empty houses, the remains of a store, and there's nobody to read those names. I've seen similar sights on closed school memorial gates, empty, where a village once stood, and in closed churches. We live in a land of what might have been. What might have been if those men had grown, married, had children and grandchildren, if they'd become farmers, teachers, tradesmen, taken their place in society. It's a land of what might have been. Wars cast a long shadow. In every family there are gaps that were never filled. They were the best of the best, lost to our country, and that long shadow still exists. Their names should live forevermore. It's all we have left. And this dawn is a time to reflect, a time to remember, and a time to resolve never again to send our youngsters to death in foreign lands. The cost is too great. Churchill said, "What we learn from history is we never learn from history, lest we forget."